Ever wondered about the red flags you should look out for on a first date? It's like going into a test without studying if you show up without your checklist. Yes, a checklist. This isn't about nitpicking every detail, but having a clear understanding of your values, boundaries, and what is non-negotiable for you in a relationship. You wouldn't want to leave these at home, would you? Now, let's dive into our first red flag, a date who controls all the decisions. Generosity is one thing, but if you notice a constant need to dictate everything, from what you should wear, when and where the date should be, down to the tiniest detail, then you may be dealing with a control freak. These are telltale signs of someone who doesn't respect your autonomy. Remember, a relationship is a partnership, not a dictatorship. Now that we've understood the first red flag, let's dive into the next two. The second red flag is when your date crosses your limits and makes you feel uncomfortable. It doesn't matter how attracted you are to this person or how charming they seem during online chats. What truly counts is the face-to-face interaction and how they make you feel in person. Do they invade your personal space, getting too close without your comfort? Do they ask you uncomfortable questions or disrespect your no? Do they insist on extending the time together even after you've clearly stated you can't? If you experience any of these, take it as a red flag. The third red flag is insincere communication. Communication is the cornerstone of any relationship, and it must be honest and respectful. Watch out for indirectness, irony, and sarcasm, which can be indicators of a lack of sincerity. A person who isn't assertive or whose communication style is somewhat violent is a clear red flag. Also, pay attention to how much they listen to you. If they're more interested in talking about themselves and show little interest in your life, it's a warning sign. Their need to dominate every conversation, to be the center of attention, is another red flag. It's important to remember that conversations should be a two-way street, and a good listener is as important as a good talker. And one more thing. If their communication makes you feel less than, unworthy, or simply uncomfortable, that's a massive red flag. You should be able to express yourself freely and feel heard and respected in any conversation with your date. Remember, the early stages of a relationship should be about getting to know each other, understanding each other's boundaries, and building trust. If your date is crossing limits and communicating insincerely, it's a clear indication that they might not be the right one for you. Communication is key, but it needs to be sincere and respectful. Moving along, let's uncover the next two red flags. The fourth on our list is how your date treats others, especially those not present. Be wary of those who constantly criticize or focus on the negatives of others. These toxic criticizers aren't just exhausting, but could also turn their disparaging remarks towards you. Listen to how they talk about their friends, their colleagues, even their family. If they are unkind or disrespectful, it's a clear warning sign. Now onto the fifth red flag, signs of an unstable attachment style. You don't need a psychology degree to spot this one. Look out for behaviors like jealousy, sudden mood swings, or ambiguity when discussing family relationships. If your date isn't adept at expressing their thoughts, emotions, or needs, this could indicate an insecure or anxious attachment style. Such patterns can lead to a tumultuous relationship down the line. It's also worth noting if your date seems to have ups and downs, such as sudden bursts of anger or frustration. These emotional roller coasters can be a sign of instability and are definitely a red flag to watch out for. Remember, a person's actions towards others is often a reflection of how they'll treat you. So pay attention to these signs and be sure to prioritize your well-being and happiness in any relationship. We're nearing the end, but these last red flags are crucial. Now, let's talk about the sixth red flag, someone who expresses their feelings too quickly. Love at first sight may seem like a romantic notion, but it's essential to remember that real, lasting relationships often take time to develop. If your date is already talking about a future together or expressing deep feelings for you, this might be a sign that they're not considering the natural progression of a relationship. It's important to take things at a pace you're comfortable with, and anyone worth your time will respect that. And finally, the seventh red flag, a lack of reciprocity. Every relationship should be a two-way street. If you find yourself constantly making the effort while your date seems uninterested or unresponsive, that's a definite red flag. A relationship should never feel like a one-man show. If you're the one always initiating conversations, making plans, or expressing feelings while your date remains passive or indifferent, it's time to reconsider. Remember, it's not just about the big gestures. The small acts of kindness, the little moments of attention, the subtle signs of care, all these matter and should be reciprocated. Balance and equal effort are essential in a relationship. Now that we've covered all 8 red flags, let's summarize. First, always take your personal checklist to your dates and never compromise on values and limits. Second, beware of a partner who seeks to control all dynamics of the date, as it may indicate a controlling tendency. Third, never ignore feelings of discomfort or boundary violations. Fourth, evaluate the sincerity and quality of communication, as it's the bedrock of any relationship. Fifth, pay attention to how your date treats others, as it offers a glimpse into their character. Sixth, observe their attachment style. It can reveal deep-seated emotional patterns. Seventh, be wary of those who rush into expressing their feelings, as genuine emotions need time to develop. And eighth, always look for reciprocity in your interactions. Remember, recognizing these red flags can save you from potential heartache and lead you to a healthier relationship.